different parts of the world, actually, the value of MBA has gone down. Number of students getting into MBA has become less.
Yes.
But in India, it's still going up.
Yeah.
So that's the tragedy of our country. The tragedy is that we are force-fitting everybody into a job. Many people actually call this jobs as white-collar slavery. We are on the brink. Out of the 9 planetary boundaries, we have crossed 6.
Yeah.
We are about to cross another 2.
Yes.
So already they say that climate change has become irreversible.
Hello guys, today in Vaanikaran we are welcoming a person whose lecture feel like the much needed pause in the chaotic MBA world. The person who lives his life without any script but whose life can be scripted into a whole documentary. He has been documentary filmmaker for Doordarshan, a columnist for Assam Tribune, written books published by Cambridge, featured on BBC and advised UN forums, a member of expert committee in Niti Aayog. He is an entrepreneur, a farmer and a beloved professor. Still attached to his roots in Shillong, the first guest for Vaanikaran is none other than Mr. Sanjeeb Kakoty, sir. So, welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's certainly a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, before moving on to any of the routine questions, one thing we all of the students have noticed that there is a notepad hanging outside your cabin, and we have always wondered, like, it is written that you can write anonymously anything on that. So, sir, what's the story behind it?
Well, there are a lot of times that I'm not inside my room.
Okay.
So people want to come and meet me. So since if they find me that I'm not available, then they go back and I'm oblivious to the fact that they're coming. So they leave a note. Sometimes they leave their mobile numbers so that I can call back. So nobody misses me at any point of time.
Okay. It's
The notepad is a reused notepad. When you go for conferences, you always get those pads you never use.
Yes.
So I make a hole and stick it on my door.
So, sir, and do you remember any of the memories fondly or any message that was written on it?
Oh, there was one which was there with the last batch, I think, that went out. So it was, your lectures feel like a warm hug every time. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, it is also a true compliment for us. Sir, now moving on to the question. So we have also always heard about your entrepreneurship journey. So as you know, in our Indian startup space right now, many of the ventures and many of the owners, many of the founders are always hesitant to stick into thick and thin. And they are always planning for an easy exit plan. So we know that you have been a part of many of the startups, and you have also told that some of your startup didn't perform well at times. So I just wanted to know that what was your guiding light and what motivated you to navigate between success, failure, and also everything in the business?
That's a very deep question, actually. So one basic philosophy I had in life is that if you can make a difference, make it. So the first startup that I was involved with was during my undergrad days. This was called the Northeast Data Bank.
Okay.
So at the time, the Northeast was having a lot of issues with violence and counter-violence and agitations. So each time I went out of the Northeast, the only picture that they had of the Northeast was that of insurgents with their guns or long-haired hippies doing drugs and songs, and that was it. But there was so much more to the Northeast than that stereotype. It is a region that has close to 500 languages that are spoken. It has got cultures that are unique.
Yes.
So we thought that story of what the Northeast is needs to be taken to the world outside. That was the beginning of the Northeast Data Bank.
Nice.
So we started that, and actually I was associated with it till the day I decided to join IIM Shillong.
Okay.
So it was a very long journey from my undergrad days to the time I joined IIM Shillong. So that was one. The other startups, some of them succeeded, some didn't. But none of them left me any poorer. Financially, I might have lost. But the experience that you get out of trying to run an enterprise is something that is there with you for life.
Yeah.
For instance, for 1 year of my life, I was a farmer.
Oh.
I left everything I was doing. We took a large plot of land on lease in Upper Assam and started farming. I lost a lot of money in that. But I started writing a column in the Statesman called Notes from a New Farmer's Diary.
Oh,
So
great.
That was there. So there are other startups also. Later on, I got involved in startups in the sense that I tried to finance a few of them through my salary. And that basically came from my mother, who asked me that what are you going to do about so many issues that are there. And she was my first teacher. She was a school teacher.
Oh.
And so she told me that, there is no point keeping money in the bank. If you have money, give it out to people who need you. Because money should be treated like water. If there are people who are dying of thirst, if you have a lot of water, there's no point keeping the water thinking you might use it in the future. Give it to the people who are thirsty. Good. So that started me off on a journey trying to help people. All the people I try to help have not been very sincere, honest. But that's part of the game. The other thing again is if you meet somebody who has not been honest, should it change you and make you distrustful of people? I decided that even if people have not been honest or have been dishonest rather, it should not change my attitude to people. So I would always look at people as being trustworthy. So if they are not trustworthy, they're the losers.
Yeah. But this is a lesson that you gave, like that you took from your mother, and she was also a teacher. So it resonates with many of us as money flows like a water. So I think one of the things today startup hesitate is they flow on the basis of money. Like they will find an easy exit plan and find venture capitalist for this. So do you think that statement that money flows like water that you used at that time is changing and evolving right now? Because everyone is like changing their decision based on money.
It's true. Actually, I just had the first class for the PGP.
Okay.
And we were talking about two things which I can recount. Okay. One is that once upon a time, people thought that the earth was flat. And second, they thought that the earth was at the center of the universe and everything revolved around the earth. So when some people came up and said that that's not true, that the earth is not at the center, they were castigated. One of them was burnt at the stakes, the others were imprisoned. So they said that no, we are taking back whatever we said. So people like Bruno, Copernicus, Galileo, all they are associated. Bruno was killed. Copernicus, I think, recanted. So now we know that the earth is not at the center of the universe. So taking it to the present day, we think that money is at the center of the universe and everything else should revolve around money. So there are brave individuals who stand up and say that, look here, money is not at the center of the universe. Nothing should revolve around money. It's just a medium of exchange.
Yes.
So the moment we can make that change, like the earth is at the center of the universe, to money being at the center of the universe. If we can prove it wrong, and it is wrong, I think we would have won the battle. But yes, a lot of startups are there to earn the money. So they are looking out to sell and earn. But in percentage terms, I think the numbers are not too large in percentage terms.
Okay.
The total number of startups that are a journey of conviction and a labor of love, they would not want to sell it or they wouldn't want to give it to somebody else because it's a journey of their own lives. So they would continue. And I think in percentage terms, the number of startups that are journeys based out of conviction are much more than those startups that are sold. And at the same time, I don't think we should be too harsh on people who sell off the startups for the money.
Yes.
Because I've also seen that they, after selling off that startup for money, they use the same funds to start a couple of other startups which make a huge difference in society.
Yes.
So it's probably part of the game.
Yeah, that was a very insightful thing, like change the perspective about money. So if we are talking about number of startups, so there's been a data which states that there were 1,57,000 startups last year in 2024 in India. But when we look upon the quality of innovation, there's been a criticism that other countries are fostering more high-tech innovation such as robotics, EV, and lithium-ion replacement, semiconductors, etc. Whereas Indian startups are focusing on some delivery apps, betting apps, and also influencer economy. So how do you see this gap, like between other countries and us?
Actually, I start with having a problem with the entire definition of startup even. So the startup figures that you mentioned are essentially startups that have been incubated in a government or semi-governmental setup.
Yes.
Whereas if you walk out of our college gates, you'll find a couple of startups. Somebody trying to sell some fruits, somebody trying to sell
that
tea.
also embodies.
So those are startups which have never been acknowledged, never been recognized, and never been given any kind of support.
Yes.
For instance, thousands and thousands of these startups, they had no way to go when the COVID started and the lockdown began.
Yes.
Whereas the registered startups probably were promised certain assistance by the government. Promised, I'm not sure whether it happened. So that is one. So I think we need to foster a culture of encouraging and respecting anybody who's trying to do something to not only have their own living but also support their families. And so that's the definition startup needs to be revisited. Second is, if you are going to look at the startups that get incubated or start, one of the things that finances are looking at is the ROI. So when you're looking at an ROI, I'm trying to say come up with a lithium-ion battery. So my ROI, because I'm competing with some of the best brands.
Yes.
So the financier is not really convinced that I have the ability to produce something that is going to be a clincher in the market.
Yes.
And the second thing is the ROI doesn't look too promising. So many of the proposals that come in for funding or for incubation are rejected at the first stage itself because the ROI doesn't look too promising.
Yes.
So what has to be done is an ecosystem has to be created that the creativity and the scientific background of a proposal should be more critical than the ROI at the first instance.
Yeah.
Because some kind of government support is required.
Yes, true.
Now, for instance, supposing there's an alum of ours who has helped with the drones being used in the country.
Yes.
Now, when he started, probably people did not really have the trust and belief in him that he could do it.
Yeah.
So there should be some kind of a support system whereby the creativity and the technical know-how that a startup tries to bring in is given more importance than only the ROI. And the ROI is normally measured in terms of 3 years, 5 years, and for a tech startup, 5 years may be too less a time for the startup to start making profits. So many of them actually never get to the second or the third stage. So it is time for us, we could have different categories of startups. So if you are going to promote only startups which are based on delivery and all that and have returns from day one, then obviously you're going to have those kind of startups.
That would be a gap.
Yeah, so that I think is the big problem, that we have not got our priorities right.
Also, sir, in our academic terms, we are also developing in some of the metrics which are apart from these, as you said. So ROI was a prominent metrics, but now they are also shifting to EV, like for enterprise value and measuring the quality of the startup. So I guess that fostering that thing will help India right now.
Absolutely.
And also, sir, I wanted to ask that if we see like the proportion of startups in this segment, as you said, you should be doing it segment wise, like sciencifying startup differently and other startup differently. But the proportion of people attempting to do that is very less. And should it be fostered from an earlier age to do or encourage this?
Not just that from an earlier age, yes. Actually, the startup business is still a very dicey kind of a proposition because most students who are studying are neck deep in loans. So the first thing that they can think of is repaying the loan.
Yes.
Now, when you have a startup and that startup is not giving you an income for the first 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, what happens to the loan?
Truly.
So that's what is the ecosystem. that what kind of support can be given. So we have got enough technical manpower in the country to evaluate the quality of a proposal and see whether it's going to make the money. So until such time that it starts generating incomes, there could be a way of supporting it. Second, the markets for a startup is still very difficult, even though the government talks about providing market support. What happens is a simple rule saying that the products of that particular startup should be bought by government departments at the first phase. That would go a long way in helping startups have a ready market. So market support is not there. Then this kind of financial support is not there. So the moment people, actually nobody wants to go and become a white collar slave. Students don't want to go and do a job from 9 to 9 and keep their phones on the entire night and receive calls and WhatsApp messages. People want to live a good life, and but they are unable to do so in a scenario that exists in the country. So there's a lot of satisfaction in owning a startup, but people will need to know that there is also that their day-to-day expenses and their loans can be repaid from the startup. And this has been done successfully in other countries, including our neighbor China. So why is it not possible that this is done in our country? I think we need to learn from the success stories of other countries.
So you mean that there has to be a ecosystem change which can be fostered and look after the other countries, and also the students are already burdened with studies and loans, so this is the major problem in creating the market gap between the startups.
Loans kill creativity, no? So we need to encourage creativity. So IIM Bangalore had started a program, I don't know whether it's still running. So students who go and join social sectors get a fee remission. So something like that. So supposing for a startup that's important for India, so supposing you could draw a salary from that until such time that the startup starts earning its own money. So maybe for the 5 years or 7 years, whatever is required for the startup to actually start production, the people who are part of the startup gets a salary or a stipend from the government. And in the long run, the government could actually become a shareholder of that startup, right? In lieu of the salary that was given. So then it's a win-win for both sides. So that is a possibility.
That's a very insightful idea about it. So moving on to our next segment. So we know that you have dedicated a good part of your life towards sustainability, educating and advocating sustainability. You have been to UN and World Economic Forum as well for this. So I wanted to ask, nowadays there are ESG guidelines, SDG goals to be met for the companies, fines, penalties are being imposed by the government and the international bodies for the same. But yet I think that companies have a chance to bypass all these and do it like a checklist and just go for earn more profits. And then also after earning more profit, they can just pay fines and do it as a PR gimmick or marketing gimmick. So what's your take on this? Like how this should be improvised as in part of whole ecosystem?
Actually, what has happened is the international community has adopted various resolutions and they made their commitments. But the most powerful country, the USA, have always walked out of many of these. So this sends out the wrong signals. The second thing is about compliance. And compliance, and if you don't comply, you can get away with a fine. And the other is proactively taking steps that will reduce your emissions. Now, the first category of compliance and paying fines to get over it, even carbon trade is actually, if you really look at it, does not solve the problem. So I continue to pollute, but I buy my required carbon credits from somebody else who's not. There is nothing in me to reduce my pollution. So even though it seems to be working at the moment, but fundamentally it is a flawed concept. So I am not too sure whether the world is going to wake up to this, but we are on the brink. Out of the 9 planetary boundaries, we have crossed 6. We are about to cross another 2. So already they say that climate change has become irreversible. So we don't have too much time on our hands. You might have maybe 10 years or so to do something, otherwise all of us will go down under the bus.
Yeah.
So 10 top MNCs of the world have a combined turnover that I think in my last reading it was equal or more than the GDPs of 183 countries. So if MNCs want to make a difference, they can certainly make a difference.
Yes.
Some of them, what was his name? Robinson's interface carpets.
Yeah.
He showed the way, but that has got to be replicated. He became a net zero producer of carpets.
Oh.
So it was one of the best success stories, and his profits actually grew. So it is not that economically you'll have to pay a price; you might actually earn more profits. More people will have to read about it, learn about it.
Truly.
Ray Anderson interface carpets.
Oh.
So he's done it and he's shown it to the world. So many others are trying to follow, but it's too little and kind of late in the day. So I think it has got to be mainstreamed.
But that's a very big number for companies like 183 countries GDPs together for 10 MNCs. Then even if they divest in some of the segments in some of the countries, that will also make difference. But can you explain some of the brief, like how this company has done it, or like a change?
It's a very interesting story. He was invited to deliver a speech on sustainability, and he realized that he knew nothing about it.
Oh.
So he picked up a book called The Ecology of Commerce by Paul Hawken.
Okay.
He thought he's just going to look at a few pages of that book and go and give a speech. In India, we go and make speeches even without reading a few pages. So this guy not only read a few pages, he actually read the entire book. He couldn't keep it down.
Okay.
And then there was an accusation made in the book saying that each one is a plunderer of the earth. They're plundering the earth for profits and making the future of the children at risk. So he didn't want to be a plunderer. So in the next board meeting, he put a target before the company saying that we are going to become net zero. So the company thought that he had lost his mind, he had gone mad. But he continued with it. They asked him, how do we do it? He said, that's why I recruited the best brains. You tell me how to do it. And they did it. And it was basically a personal commitment.
Okay.
And today there is a prize called the Ray of Hope Prize for any young entrepreneur who comes up with a good proposal, and it provides you with the seed funding also, the Ray of Hope Prize. So this is the story of Ray Anderson and how he made a difference.
It's a very informative story, because from a book, if it's been applied, then everyone should go through such a nice, insightful like articles and books that everyone in the world does. So, like moving on to our next segment, what is the, like we have also noticed there is a growing uptrend in CAT and other MBA entrance exams. Like there were 3.29 lakh people giving CAT last year. So I wanted to ask that, is giving CAT and going to an MBA college just become merely a trend, or what according to you adds a real value in MBA?
That's the $1 million question I've been struggling with myself.
Okay.
So actually, yes, it's a trend, and the unemployment rates in India is at its highest. So if you look at in different parts of the world, actually the value of MBA has gone down. Number of students getting into MBA has become less.
Yes.
But in India, it's still going up.
Yeah.
Because in this scenario of huge unemployment, it is seen that just a technical degree is not enough to fetch you a job. So if you combine it with an MBA, that too from an IIM, then you have better chances of getting a placement, whatever that may be. So looking at the unemployment scenario, looking at the lack of the proper startup culture, so probably this is the only option for the young people to land themselves a job. So in terms of value, I think the value that students see and probably the system sees, it provides them with a window of opportunity to land a job, a placement.
Okay. Sir, also we are looking at an uptrend, like many of the different kinds of streams are on a rise to get into MBA. And as you mentioned, like the only technical degree is not sufficient. But if you see, there are also other backgrounds like BA, BSc also entering to the MBA world. So my question is that, is it not like we are killing other domains, jobs, and many of opportunities just in the lieu of a placement and going to the MBA and management and corporate world?
No, that's the tragedy of our country. The tragedy is that we are force fitting everybody into a job.
Yeah.
And many people actually call this jobs as white collar slavery.
Okay.
But if you are willing to go into it, because there are no opportunities in those other areas,
Yeah.
employment is not happening,
Okay.
enterprises are not coming. So, how do people fend for themselves? So, if an MBA is going to help you get a job that gives you a decent salary,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
become an obvious choice then.
Because if you look at the total number of research papers being produced in India in top category journals, it's just a fraction of what China is doing.
Yeah, truly.
So when you talk about a educational ecosystem, then all streams need to be encouraged,
Yes.
given support, so that they can make their mark.
So, sir, as you said about the startups, like you said, for some years, the startup should be granted a value proposition for them so that they go and work up. And so you are suggesting the same thing for this as well, like for fostering innovation, for fostering creativity in any of the fields, the government should support and the ecosystem should be made like such that they should be given a free hand for going forward with their work.
It's not just the government, because we also have, in India is one of those countries that has got 2% of its incomes of corporates to be kept aside for CSR.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the CSR, it's become another tick box.
Yeah.
Now, supposing the CSR funds, which is fairly substantial, could be used to provide support to many of these,
Yes.
it could help. The other thing is, we may think that we are economically developing, but as of today, 80 to 90 crore people are surviving in India because of free rations. After 75 years of independence, if so many people need to depend on free ration, that means there is something that is not going right. There is
Yes.
also the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few.
Okay.
5% of the population may control more than 60% of its total wealth and resources. So there is something wrong. What do we do about it? How do we do it?
Yeah.
And we need very strong political will to implement many of these.
Yeah, yes, truly, that's the case. But sir, then also, we as an MBA student from IIM Shillong cater to that belief that even if the other background people are coming here, we are creating a good value proposition for them. And then I wanted to ask a connecting question that every one of us would want to know, that you have been in IIM Shillong from the first year, from its inception. I wanted to just highlight what have been changed in from the first day, from the past of IIM Shillong to the present day, and what's its future right now. Because, and one more lingering question that comes to our mind is that what is the actual USP of IIM Shillong in comparison to other B schools?
Actually, the USP keeps on changing.
Yeah, because of
So
years.
when we started off, the first batch size was 63.
Yes.
And we had a very, very deep personal connect with each of the students. We knew about the family backgrounds of many of them.
Oh.
So there was a problem at home also. We looked at the face of the student and we realized there's something not right.
Yes.
But now with the numbers having grown to 400 plus, I don't even remember the names of each of the students because we are also doing biometric. I don't call out names.
Yeah.
So that has become a challenge. So one USP of IIM Shillong was that it was a very close-knit community.
Okay.
I mean, people knew one another, people interacted with one another. But as we grow larger, that has been a casualty, I feel. That close-knit community has become large. And when it becomes large, it's difficult to maintain that proximity. But the other thing that is an USP of IIM Shillong, I feel, is the place where it's located.
Yes.
The place where it's located is not just beautiful, the temperature is always cool, but apart from that is the kind of social setup in which it exists. So starting with the first point of contact with the support staff, be it cleaners or security, there is a huge amount of self-respect in each individual who works here, irrespective of the post or position he or she holds. So that is a kind of eye-opener for students, saying that I couldn't recognize the cleaner who was going out. She was so well-dressed and trendy.
Yes.
So there's an enormous amount of self-respect in individuals here. So irrespective of the job that they do. So self-respect is something which I think probably is ingrained. And if students can imbibe self-respect, any individual who has a lot of self-respect is always forced to do certain things that's good for others, and is also unable to do certain things which
And not good for
are
others.
not good. So because of that self-respect. So self-respect is something that happens. The second thing which is very, very strong here is the kind of trust and honesty that used to be there. I mean, it's very, very rare to hear of anything being lost from a room or something.
Yeah, truly.
So then the third is in terms of quality and all that, I don't see much difference.
Okay.
So probably people there, because they knew each other so well, they knew the teachers so well, they put in very strong, sincere efforts to do something. Maybe that, and all of them tried that. But now maybe a percentage of them are trying, but a large percentage may not be putting in that strong, sincere.
Yes, that can be a kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sir, for the last question, I would ask, like, what do you thought about the one question that we would have asked you?
I didn't really think. I came in very, very
Okay.
open-ended.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that you might be asking me about careers and futures and all that. But I'm happy that you didn't ask that, because that's very mundane.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, sir, thank you for your prestigious and valuable time. And we are glad to invite you in our first episode. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
It was certainly a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.